Hello, this is the PS3 emulator RPCS3, and I am going to be showing my setup for Gran Turismo 5 for PS3, which I spent all weekend finally ripping and getting working because I'm a fool and I did a bunch of things wrong trying to rip it. Anyway, I got it now. It's running pretty good. So I'm just gonna fire it up and I'll come back and show the settings and stuff while it's running in the background. Even though I've run it a number of times, it still does this fairly lengthy cache generation thing every time I run it. The first time you run it, the first time I ran it, it took a while longer, but it doesn't have to rebuild all of the caches every time, just 8,000 of them, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't actually take that long, I suppose. Once you're in game, load times are pretty quick, although it does do more shader compiling instead of when you go to a new track or get a new car or go anywhere you haven't been before, basically. But this game does actually run pretty well in RPCS3. I tried Gran Turismo 6, just took a look at that, and that does not run well in RPCS3. That has major performance issues in the emulator still, which is too bad. But 5 is the one that I've played, probably the Gran Turismo I've played the most. Now you see there is this rather garish rendering artifact in the background. That's in the menus, and I'm not sure if maybe some advanced setting would fix that up. I haven't tried experimenting with all of them. I suppose I could. Like, I mean, what do we got? Let's see. Under GPU. So I do have the shader quality cranked up to the maximum setting, which is, that if I lowered it, it wouldn't spend as much time compiling shaders, which you can see in the lower left corner it's doing right now because it's loading stuff into this display in the background. I mean, there's stuff like maybe VSync would do it. I don't know. Strict rendering mode. I think that can degrade performance. So I wouldn't want it to. Well, we could try real quick. I hope it doesn't bust my recording. That didn't do anything. Oops, don't do that. Oh, I think if I turn off rumble in this, oh yeah, I did. I didn't actually need to do that because you can turn it off in game, but I wasn't going into the game menus for a while and the rumble was annoying me. I'll show you the game menu as we go along here. So it wasn't strict rendering mode. I'm not going to mess with VSync right now because I'm recording. Well, I mean, why not? Well, it didn't do much. Multi-threaded RSX. Like, some of these might not actually take effect until I do have broken lighting. Might degrade performance. Or not broken lighting, I have glitches or whatever I was talking about there. Well, that didn't do it, but again, I might have to restart for that to get fixed. I don't know. Missing graphics or broken. Well, they aren't really missing. They just got this weird thing over them. I don't know, anyway. Shader mode. Or it could be something under advanced, there's none of these sound like graphic things particularly. Disable vertex cache might resolve flickering or missing graphics output. Depth buffers. Of course, this could also like crash the darn thing. I don't know, let's try this one. Well, no immediate change anyway. Alright, anyway, so this is actually the one I bought off eBay used was not Gran Turismo 5, the regular release. It was a later release called Gran Turismo 5 XL edition. I'm not sure why I wanted to get that version exactly. It was just kind of the first one that, oh, well, that's because you could, the commonly downloaded ROM, the pirated ROM of this game on the internet seems to be the XL edition, so I was thinking for compatibility reasons, maybe I better stick with the XL edition. So anyway, I just got the XL edition. There's plenty of them on eBay anyway. The XL edition was a later re-release of the game. You can see the cover is pretty much the same as the regular Gran Turismo 5, except the car is silver instead of red. And it says XL edition. That's about, so XL edition is what they called quote unquote Spec 2. That confused me for a while because it well, I'll get into that a little more, but it comes with a little over 2 gigabytes of patches that aren't installed. They're on the disk, and when you first run the game, you have to do a mandatory update to install them. In RPCS3, how that works is the first time you run the game, it pops up a tiny little window over the game icon in RPCS3, and it's an RPCS3 dialog that says, do you want to run this update or something? And if you don't do it, the game pretty much crashes when you get to the menu or something, so you have to do it. And on an actual PS3, as I discovered when I was messing around on my actual PS3, there's no choice. You have to install it. So that updates your version of the game from 1.0, as RPCS3 calls it, to 2.01. And so version 2.01 is what they call Spec 2, I guess. Includes Spec 2.0 update with improved game features as well as DLC voucher for new cars. So yeah, the XL edition, it's the regular retail release of the game with a couple things just thrown in. So the thrown in things includes this sort of custom patch, the 2.2 or something gigabyte patch that takes you from version 1 to and it's a mandatory patch to version 2.01. That's the first 10 patches that were released for the game, all sort of combined into one. And then a DLC voucher. So the DLC voucher, now of course I got this used, so there was no guarantee that a previous owner hadn't used the code, which I have blocked out, so you can't actually see what it is. I haven't got a chance to try redeeming the code on my actual PS3 on the PS Network because Sony just released an update for the PS3 firmware, and my PS3 is jailbroken, and the jailbreak stuff is still only goes up to 4.91. And I have an hilarious story about how I almost bricked my PS3 over the weekend because of that coincidence of the new firmware coming out. But maybe I'll go into that later if I remember. Anyway, so I haven't had a chance to try that because I can't update to the latest firmware on my jailbroken PS3 yet, and so I can't get online with it onto the PlayStation Network to try to redeem this voucher. But it probably won't work because, as you can see here, the voucher was only supposed to be valid from March 1st 2012 to March 31st 2013. March 31st 2013. So if you bought this game on release, this version on release, I guess you had a little over a year to I don't know if it released on March 1st anyway, to redeem your codes for I think it was pretty much most of the DLC that was out at that time for the game. And I think you can no longer Well, you can no longer, I'm pretty sure you can no longer purchase that DLC from the PlayStation 3 store, and I don't think, okay, so here's the thing, I don't know if you ever actually downloaded it from the PlayStation store. You probably just downloaded like an unlock code that, you know, the game read, so it told the game that you owned that DLC. But there is a, and I will include the link to the tutorial I followed for this in the description below the video on YouTube. But basically, there's a program that you can use on the PC called Gran Turismo 5 Save Editor, or it's called GT5 Save Editor, and you can load up your save file and then just check some boxes that say give me these DLCs, and it's just like all the DLCs, and you can just check which ones you want. And then when you go, you save your save that you've edited in the editor, then you load the save back up when you run the game again. And you can do this you can put the save on an actual PS3, and apparently it worked. I'm just, you know, doing it in RPCS3, so it's easy. I didn't have to import and export it to my PS3 or anything. And so just here in RPCS3, it worked, and I got all the DLC stuff. So that means that the DLC, you know, the actual cars, the models, and the textures, and all that were on, they must have come in the game updates themselves, which I guess explains why the game updates were largish files. So, you know, it's all there if you've updated the game, and you can still download the game updates. You can even download the game updates on PC using an application called, is that one Rufus? I keep forgetting, because there's two PS3 sort of utility files that users have made that are similarly named, and I always get them confused. Well, one's just a general format program, but let's see. It is Rusty. That's the program that can download updates for games, and then you can just drag and drop them into RPCS3 basically. So if you put in the serial number for Gran Turismo 5, which you can copy from the right-click menu, copy serial. And you notice this is actually the serial number, not for HD edition, which does have its own separate serial number. This is just the serial that the RPCS3 gives you, as far as it's concerned about the game, is just the regular Gran Turismo 5 release serial number. So you can, and this will show you all the updates, 4.6 total updates online for Gran Turismo 5. And those go up to 2.17. So as I said, the game itself comes with a big patch that takes it up to version 2.1. And then there's actually 17 more patches that you can download and apply to the game if you want. So I did that. So the game, my version of the game, and you can check this in game. If you go to manual, you see that number that's written sideways in the upper left. That shows you the game version you're on, and mine says 2.17 point blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm at version 2.17. Also, I am running the latest firmware here. You can download the PS3 firmware from Sony's website and install it in RPCS3. So I am running the 4.92 firmware right now, and the game seems fine with that, so that's good. So yeah, let's go over the RPCS3 settings I'm using for this. Let's see. RPCS3's wiki has a list of, and here you can see the red car on the cover of the regular release of the game, the non XL edition. Oh, and the XL edition actually, so there were different titles for it in other countries or other territories. So Asia got a release with, you know, the updates on it. It was called Gran Turismo 5 Spec 2. That was a Chinese and English version. They actually got that before other territories got their updated releases. Then US and Canada got Gran Turismo 5 XL edition. And then actually a couple of weeks later, Japan's version came out. That was just called Gran Turismo 5 Spec 2, which kind of makes more sense, actually. Europe 7 months after that, 8 months almost after the Japanese one, got Gran Turismo 5 Academy Edition. I don't know if they got additional updates, and I think they probably got a few additional updates in that, but I don't know. And then Asia got a second release. They had one in January 2012, but they got another in December called Gran Turismo 5 2013 edition. That was like a week before 2013, I guess. So yeah, anyway, that was just a fun little piece of trivia, I thought. So anyway, the RPCS3 Wiki entry on Gran Turismo 5, it's got a bunch of recommended settings, and I made most of these. One I found totally did not work for me, and I will go over that. So my custom config for the game, under CPU configuration, they tell you to set SPU block size to mega, and I believe I did that. Wait, am I looking at the right thing here? SPU block size and on CPU, yeah, mega. I forget what the default one is, probably safe. Anyway, so set that to mega. Under GPU configuration, it recommends resolution scale 100. Now, I always get confused between the RPCS3's default resolution setting and the resolution scale. The thing is, let's see. Under default resolution, the description text at the bottom of the window says this setting will be ignored if the resolution scale is set to anything other than 100. So that makes sense why you want to set it to 100, actually. And this game on the PS3 ran at 1080p. That was its native resolution. So RPCS3's default setting for everything is 720p, so I changed it to 1080p, since this game did run at 1080p on an actual PS3. And actually later we'll see that this page itself says that the performance is better at 1080p for this game. I haven't tried to check that, but anyway. So anyway, yeah, that's at 100%. Advanced configuration, it's these various checkboxes. I don't know, this is a little out of my depth, but accurate RSX reservation access, I turned that on. I checked that box. Prevents desyncs. It says, I don't know what that means exactly, but hey. And then there's one called RSX FIFO accuracy. That's a drop down over on the right hand side here. It says to use atomic. This is more about desyncs. Debug configuration. This tab is hidden, and you have to go through a little song and dance to unhide it, and I did that. So it's over here when you do unhide it by following the instructions on that linked page they have there. And they recommend disable zcall occlusion queries. I mean, maybe that's the setting that's making it weird. Maybe I should try changing that. Well, no immediate change there. So I guess I'll just turn that back on. It says improves performance, okay. And then there are some more settings that come up here because there are some known issues that they list here. And this was the big problem I had. So actually, let me just save this for that last setting I put back. I don't want to forget about that. Okay, they say that there was this crash issue when buying a used car. Or there is this crash issue when buying a used car. Although actually, I think I looked at that issue and it said it was fixed or something. I don't know, let's go look. This is on the GitHub tracker. Oh no, it was just one person saying they found a workaround. If you set default and scale resolution to 1080p, at least this person, they did not have crashes. So that meant they set their resolution scale to 150. Which means it's ignoring the other setting. But I guess that wouldn't matter because you set it to 1920 there. But that's probably upscaled 720 or something. I don't know. Wait, so if this says it ignores... Setting will be ignored if resolution scale is anything other than 100%. I see. Well, I guess that makes sense. Well, although, so yeah, I don't like this person. They aren't quite in agreement with what. I can't get it back to 100 now. What the heck? Okay. They're saying they set both of theirs to 1920, but that doesn't actually matter because if this is correct work, because if you have the resolution scale set to 150, it says it ignores the default resolution. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just leaving mine as it's set here. But so this, I don't know if that crash still happens. I'm not really planning on doing, like the normal career mode anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, I tried it first. So they said to avoid this crash, you can use this other compiler, spullvm. It's under CPU. By using the LLVM as the default compiler, you can switch it to smbhax, and it said that decoder will prevent the crash. The thing I ran into with this one, though, is when I had it on smbhax and tried to run the game, it was just constantly doing that thing where it shows a little timer, rotating dial thingy in the lower left saying recompiling shaders or whatever. So it basically, recompiling was just constant and non-stop, and the game ran like heck. So that it didn't work well on my system anyway. It says it's the fast option with very good compatibility, but this one, then LLVM says it's the fastest option, so there's the fast option and the fastest option. So yeah, anyway, smbhax just didn't make the game playable for me, so I don't know if I ever try to run career mode. We'll see how that goes with the crash thing. And maybe I'll try what that other guy said. I'm setting both those sliders to 1080p, although I'm skeptical of that. Let's see, other settings that I gleaned from this. Well, there's another bug here that says blinking white dots appear on screen when default resolution is set to 1920 by 1080. This does not happen during races, only replays pre-race screens and menus, and thus does not affect gameplay fixed by strict rendering mode. Well, I'm not using strict rendering mode, which I think is under advanced. Where the heck is strict rendering mode? I've seen it. Oh, there it is. But that reduces performance. But yeah, I'm not using that. But I don't get the blinking white dots thing. So I don't know. I'm running at 1080 on default resolution, but I don't get that. So maybe that got fixed at some point and nobody checks it. I don't know. I haven't seen this thing with the bumper cam. There's this thing, and I have seen people reporting this around the internet from older posts where audio would just cut out, apparently. I don't get that myself, so I haven't had to mess with this other setting it recommends that would reduce performance a little. Okay, so here's another interesting note. So this says you can go all the way up to a game update 2.11 or higher. I don't know why oh, well, I guess I have seen there was like some update that at 2.11, or maybe it was the one after 2.11, Sony's updates started implementing checks that made it so you couldn't use, and this is just what I read from people posting, you could no longer use like edited cars and stuff. I guess people had found ways to hack their cars for super performance or something. So apparently, I think it was after 2.11, Sony put a stop to that, and people got annoyed, of course, or people who were hacking their cars got annoyed anyway. So maybe that's why it mentions that one specifically. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, it says stability is just the same, with the caveat that post 2.00, updates post 2.00 are heavier on the CPU and more demanding to run. So I thought, well, okay, if this XL edition, goes up to, has updates up to 2, then I won't install the additional game updates that you can download through that Rufus or whichever one it was, that other PS3 utility. I'll just stick with the one on the disc, but the one on the disc actually forces you to go to 2.01, which would be past this cutoff here, so I would already be into the heavier CPU demand. So I just said, well, the heck with it, I'll just install all of them, and some of it, I got all the updates installed, so it's a 2.17. And then here's that note, 1920 by 1080 default resolution is less demanding on the GPU than 1280 by 720, which is pretty wacky. And I don't know if that's just for this game, because this game was designed to run at 1080p, or if that's a general thing in RPCS3, that 1080p is less GPU intensive than 720p. But, so that's kind of good, actually, because I wanted to run at 1080p. So, anyway, that's all that stuff. So I think that's all the setup I did in RPCS3 itself for this game. So, I hope I didn't break anything here. Okay, so in the game there are some options you can set, of course. And oh, I think the first time you run the game, it'll ask if you want to do an install from the disk to your hard drive, and of course, you don't. That won't make any real difference. It'll just take up more space on your PC hard drive if you're running from, the emulator, because, you're not running it from a Blu-ray like you might have been on an actual PS3. That would install, I think it's 8 gigabytes or so of data from the Blu-ray. The total RIP size for the game is 20 or 22 gigabytes, somewhere around there. It's pretty big for a PS3 game. I don't know if I changed any of this stuff. I don't think I did. Oh, one that's interesting here is AI car characteristics. This is for arcade mode specifically. It says this is the arcade mode menu, and that's the mode I'm currently planning to play mostly. So this changes their aggressiveness apparently of the AIs that you're racing against. So I guess if I need more challenge at some point, I can try cranking this up and just see what happens with that. It's kind of interesting that they have a setting like that. But I've left it on the default of 0 for now. Here's where you turn off vibration. I should go back and actually, yeah, I will do that. Just get rid of my custom controller config, because that was the only thing I changed there was remove custom gamepad config. Okay. Because the only thing I changed there was turning off vibration in the emulator itself, I think. I've left the buttons on default setting, which interestingly, it's this sort of, I think it goes all the way back to the first Gran Turismo, which is that gas and brake are on accelerates on X and brake is on square. So, but I just find that works. Like most racing games these days would have them on the triggers and stuff. But I sometimes get like cramped or sore shoulders from being old, I guess, from holding down like a trigger for a long period of time. So I don't know, I find that these face button ones just work. They're comfortable, so whatever, I just left them on that. I didn't, so at some point I may have to turn off background music volume in the game if YouTube, if I get flagged for like copyright claims on the music from the game. Like I looked at a track list for the game, and it looks like it includes, well-known pop music from the time or something, but I haven't actually heard any pop music tracks that I recognize yet. I don't know if that's just because I'm not playing the main career mode or something yet, but I may eventually, if I do get copyright claims, then maybe have to turn the game music off. I don't know. I'll lose all that revenue from the videos. Until I do that, maybe. We'll see what happens there. I don't think I changed this stuff. It's interesting here. This confused me for a while. I had to go look this up because it says display mode now, whatever that means. 1920 by 1080 by 59.94p. So I guess even if you were playing on through a like digital HDMI cable, the game still would have been running at 59.94 hertz instead of like an even 60 hertz. 59.94 is the analog refresh rate for 60, and like PS2s and PS1s and so forth, games that were quote unquote 60 FPS would actually run at 59.94. Not that that's a big difference. It looks like, I couldn't find it clearly stated, but it sounded like when I just Googled this before I started recording that RPCS3, if it says 60, if your setting is 60 in RPCS3, then it is actually 60. It's not 59.94. And actually, I checked it in this game here specifically by, let's see, settings, performance overlay. And it looks like, well, it's running over 60 right now, but it looks like in other occasions, it looked like it was trying to maintain 60 rather than a 59.94. So I think I don't have the frame limiter on. That's a separate setting you can check. And well, it's interesting because in RPCS3, it's not that interesting, let's face it. But so the frame limit, the default setting is auto. Using the frame limiter will add extra overhead and slow down the game. It says PS3 native should only be used if auto is not working correctly, as it can introduce frame pacing issues. So I think maybe I found a reference from some years back to RPCS3 that was saying, that made it sound like there was a 59.94 setting, and maybe there was years ago, I don't know, but right now you've just got this PS3 native, which is probably 59.94 or an approximation. But it sounds like RPCS3 doesn't really want to use 59.94. Sounds like it just rounds up to 60 anyway. So, and you can set it to 60 specifically if you did want to limit it. So, but I don't care. I just left it at auto. So yeah. Anyway, so I didn't see it like trying to hover around 59.94 at any point. So I think it's probably, it's probably doing 60 in here. But on an actual PS3, it's probably 59.94. Oh, hey, image quality. It's like sharpening or something. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't change any of that stuff. This stuff is all fancy hardware I don't want to mess with. I don't have a steering wheel. I'm using a DualSense controller, actually, in Windows here. Clear your network cache, I guess. Okay, so this was interesting. So for one thing, I unchecked the intro movie, so you don't have to skip out of that every time you run the game. I checked this stop installation box because it sounds like the game installs data onto your hard disk drive, and it actually gradually installs game data onto your hard disk drive. This can be useful when your hard disk drive is running out of space. Actually, I'm not, oh, I think it means stopping the installation can be useful. I'm remembering right now that back when I did run this game and I was playing it a bunch on my PS3 back in the day, I did find that it had just like trickle installed like gigabytes and gigabytes of data from the Blu-ray gradually, which was weird to me, but you can have it just do that right away. I think this is the option that comes up. I think that goes up to 8 gigabytes, but as it installs more game updates, of course, it takes more space. Let's see how much it did. But so after I checked this, and this was one of the first things I did when I reinstalled the game. I installed the game several times in RPCS3 because I kept messing around with stuff. Let's see what it's at now. This may take some time. So it's at 4 megabytes, 4.6 megabytes or whatever, I don't know. So that's not bad. Oh, it updated that there, wow. And I could clear those out and it wouldn't matter. They'd probably just come back though. But I mean, I told it to stop trickle saving and it's still doing a little bit of it. Well, whatever. Okay, so that's it there. Okay, now we can like actually do stuff. Well, okay, more stuff. There's GT mode. That's kind of the career mode. I mean, let's see. Oh, you can't back out of it. Arg. Okay, I'm gonna back out real quick here because your main modes are GT mode. That's where you go for the career mode and stuff. I think arcade mode where you just run races with the a slate of cars. You didn't have to earn them or anything. They're just there to play with. You don't have to do a whole lot of tuning on them or anything. There's a course maker, which I think I actually did mess around with a little bit back in the day. It's pretty limited and you can't like make super detailed tracks with it, but and then the Gran Turismo TV, that was like you could go view. I don't remember, some of them were streaming videos. They were trying to make it this whole thing. You could just hang out and watch car related videos and see like the latest stuff that the Gran Turismo team wanted you to see about contests and stuff, but that's probably not working on, since we're not online on PS Network here, but I don't know. I haven't tried messing with it. You can save manually if you're in GT mode. I'm pretty sure it auto saves your progress. And then there's the online manual, which is useful for checking your version number, as I said before. And then, that might just go to the store. I'm not going to click that. So anyway, GT mode. Not signing into PlayStation Network, I know. I doubt that would actually work in RPCS3 anyway. So yeah, it's like the career mode where you do events and seasonal events. I wonder if those are working now. You have to be on the server for those. And this probably doesn't work either now. Do we get special events though? Oh, that's exciting. License test dealerships, used cars dealer, speed test, practice. I think. Yeah, so I guess there's no AI cars or anything, you're just running around. Oh, in addition to free runs, it also features drift trials and one-make races. Interesting. Jammed all that in there. Oh, there's a photo mode thing. So car delivery, this is where all the stuff, all the DLC cars that I enabled through the save editor show up. I claimed one of them, I think, because, or wait, no. The car I claimed, when you first come into, if you haven't messed with your save to enable that DLC, when you first come into GT mode here, whatever it's called, I already forgot, you will have a car in your car delivery, or at least, or maybe it's a window that pops up immediately that says, hey, for downloading version, updating the version, whatever, of the game, you get a free car or something. So anyway, I got a car and I cached that one in because the save editor tutorial said you need to have at least one car in your garage before you can edit your save. So that's the car I already got out of here, but I still have all these tickets I can claim, all these fantasy cars and all kinds of supercars and stuff. I mean, these were DLC cars as well, so lots of Skylines. Sony loves their Skylines. Oh, we got a cart, 2 carts, 3 carts. Got a crazy Red Bull prototype. I didn't want to pull all these in yet because they would just, I mean, some of those supercars could just ruin the arcade mode theoretically, but then I've noticed some of the cars already in the arcade mode are pretty much blasting past the CPUs, at least on, well, I was playing on easy, so maybe that's not such a problem on higher difficulties. Anyway, this is all the stuff you can get out of your save file if you use the save editor, so that's cool. more fantasy Red Bull prototype stuff. I actually still have photos I took in photo mode and then downloaded from my PS3, put on a USB card back in the day when I was messing with photo mode. I still have some that I took back then, some screenshots from photo mode. You see them. Oh wow, okay, that's online. Oh, this is custom courses you made. Okay. So I've just got that one car that I claimed that it gave me from at the start. But that doesn't matter for arcade mode. Change your outfit. I did get some DLC outfits. Take profile picture. I don't know if you can change your user. Like, I think it's just stuck on user because I'm not online, so it wasn't able to pull my. But some of these are a little aggressive. Hey, look at that. He's like throwing you a little flirty shoulder there. Let's go with flirty shoulder guy. You can randomize the outfit. That's fun. Masquerade 32 helmet. Bicolor I-30 suit. That first one was better. Oh, that's kind of hot. We got a bronze colored suit. That's cool. Profile, no progress, but I have driven miles. I guess that's in arcade mode. It doesn't save your, like, arcade mode times as far as I can see, which is too bad. I kind of wish it did that. No community, that's probably for the best. What do we have over here? News. My home settings. Design settings. Change the theme color, photos, wallpapers. But I suppose you can take a photo in photo mode and then use it as your wallpaper or something. Or maybe, oh yeah, okay. I mean, these are kind of neat. Ultra wide. That's kind of cool. Oh, these aren't actually, these are like actual game track things. Wait a second, is that track I couldn't find? I have a memory of some track that's like in the countryside under stars, but I couldn't find it. I thought it was in Gran Turismo 5. See, I can't remember if I played 6. I can't remember if I played 6 or not. I have this impression that I did play Gran Turismo 6. And that I found it didn't run quite as well as 5, and I never really got into it. But I'm not actually sure if I did play 6, because I took a look at like videos of it, and I don't recognize, like, the UI just doesn't register in my memory at all from that game. So I don't know. Anyway, that's fine. You can manually save. You can hit the manual again here. Does it not save automatically when I leave? Didn't say it saved. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do that every time I come in here. I'm not really planning on playing career mode so far, so maybe that won't be such a problem, but I wonder if it doesn't autosave. I don't know. Anyway, so all I'm thinking about doing for the time being is doing arcade mode, because that's nice and simple and fun. I don't really remember. See, I didn't nowadays, and even back then and before I played this on a PS3, I was taking notes and compiling notes on games I was playing, but I didn't do that for this game, and I think maybe I was working a lot in the game industry at that point. I just didn't want to spend time doing anything else outside of work, aside from just chilling with a game or something. I don't know. So I don't remember disliking the career mode in 5. I think I got all the way through. I'm pretty sure I did. Drift Trials, I don't think I care about. That's split screen. Interesting. Okay. Time trial, drift trial. So I've just been doing like single race. There's 3 difficulty levels to beginner right now. And the only track I've been just messing around with in my configuration setting time over the weekend has been London. And this is a track, I've been thinking about this track a lot in the past year or so as I was like looking at other racing games, and I kept thinking about this London track in GT5, and I kept thinking, should I, because I sold all my original PS3 and all my games when I moved 6 years ago, and I kept thinking, and I eventually got a PS3 back because I wanted to play, I guess, Virtua Fighter, like VF5, and I kept thinking, should I get Gran Turismo 5? Because that was not a download release. It was a disc release only. And I was like, at least I think it was disc only. Anyways, it's not on the store now, but they always delist the old Gran Turismos. Because I liked this track, and actually they have a lot of cool little city tracks in 5. Clubman, these are all city, well, yeah, this whole category is city tracks. Madrid, I remember spending a lot of time in Madrid. The Madrid track, or no, it was the Rome track, I think was probably the one I spent the second most time in, or maybe the most, because I remember I was really tuning, I had a Lamborghini early on in career mode, and I spent a lot of time trying to optimize its tuning, and I was on Rome at that point. But yeah, they've got these cool like night Tokyo tracks. I don't remember Côte d'Azur so much, but London I just really like. It's just a fun little track, and then they've got just reverse modes of those, so it's not like a ton of tracks, but it's a good number. I think this special stage is basically just for testing out your max speed. And then some of these tracks were tracks that came in the DLC, like these kart tracks were DLC tracks. I think this might have been a DLC track. High Speed Ring wouldn't have been that. That was the default one. Most of these were. But a lot of, like, so I played all the way through Gran Turismo 7. Those are the other Gran Turismo videos I have so far on this channel, or they're all Gran Turismo 7. I played all the way through GT7's career mode, but it was just, they didn't have, for some reason, wait, are these more carts? Oh, wow, more, oh, these are just reverse, right. For some reason, GT7 did not have cool little city tracks. It's got 2 or 3 and then variations of them, like Tokyo tracks that look kind of like this, but that's all you get as far as city tracks go in 7, or at least at the time. Maybe they've released more since then, I don't know, and it was pretty, it was really disappointing to me, because the like Tokyo or whatever it was tracks in 7 were just pretty bland, and 7 as a whole was pretty bland actually. And the feeling I got from 7 after getting through the whole career mode was just kind of gross. It was just like this whole like pushing this weird like luxury, like let's worship luxury cars thing on you. Like you get your races, you have to go into this weird quote-unquote cafe, and cars are on this menu, and it's all like, oh, look how luxurious this is. And it's just bizarre and weird, and And like you're constantly bombarded if you go into the places to buy cars about how like, oh, you know, how amazing this car manufacturer is. And it's just, you know, super blatant general luxury car culture advertising. And it's like, you know, probably since early on, Gran Turismo has kind of been, you know, advocating on behalf of the luxury car companies. And of course, they have to get license deals to get the cars in the game in the first place with these companies. But it's just so gross and icky feeling in 7. And then the game itself, the tracks are very bland. I mean, it looks nice, and the handling is good. It's noticeably, I guess, smoother and more reactive. You feel the road more clearly than you do in 5. But yeah, it was just kind of a gross overall feeling I got after playing through career mode in that game. And it just didn't have the cool little city tracks that are the tracks I actually really like. So anyway, we're going in there. Let's see London. I see London. Now, it will do a bunch of compiling of shaders and whatnot at the start. So this is arcade mode. It gives you a lot of cars, and you don't have to earn these or anything. These are just here. They're not associated with your career mode progress or anything. And you can take any of these, and I'm not sure if if I take this little Swift, are the other opponents going to sort of scale to be in this car class or not? I'm not sure about that. Portable garage. Oh, for the PSP, that's weird. Then I guess favorites would be cars from your garage, yeah. But arcade only is actually just cars that aren't associated. They're just always here. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to worry about your garage or tuned cars or anything. So let's see what the other cars are, the opponent cars are, if I take this little thing. I'm just playing automatic right now. Maybe if I actually start getting anywhere, I'll eventually get back into manual racing. I think that's how I played before on, you know, actually shifting gears and stuff. Okay, what do I want to do here for driving options? Oh, well, we need racing softs. That's just a given, right? And I don't know if this also equips the opponents with tires this good, because racing softs are like, I mean, you're just like really fastened to the pavement. It's great. Don't want driving line. I forget what I did back in the day as far as all this stuff. So wait, what does it say about traction control? Adjusts the strength of the traction control system, prevents the drive wheels from spinning. Oh, so it prevents spin outs. Spin outs are annoying, so I'm just going to leave that on. Skid recovery. Function for beginners that stops skidding by increasing grip when the wheels start to slip. Let's turn that off and pretend I'm not a beginner. Automatically corrects steering when the car oversteers and the rear slips out. Okay, that's off. Good. Active stability management device prevents the car from spinning out. Okay, I guess I already turned some of this stuff off. ABS I'm leaving on at strength 1. I mean, regular cars have ABS. The sliders all the way to the left, ABS is switched off. Okay, so I didn't have it off. The higher the number, the more the available tire grip will be used for cornering rather than braking. It's kind of weird. Alright. I think you have to set each time you come in here, you have to set the tires back to whatever you wanted, I think. Okay, so most tracks in GT5, you can't actually have them like have a time change or anything. They're fixed at a certain time of day and weather type. So London is only on this sort of sunny afternoon-ish looking thing. And I haven't messed with the music, like I haven't turned it off because I'm kind of enjoying just having the experience of having this sort of trashy pop music coming in. Like, it's all been stuff that I don't recognize, and it's just, like, it's not music that I would listen to on its own at all, but, I don't know, it's kind of just funny to have this just whatever music coming up in the game, you know, whatever, what's his face, Yamauchi wanted to subject you to. Anyway, let's just go. So there will be a lot of caching. Also, it resets the camera each time. You have to toggle select to switch. So I like the interior views, even though there was a lot of controversy in, I think it was in 5, because only certain cars got like deluxe interior treatment. Other cars just had a more generic interior or something. I forget exactly what the breakdown was in terms of which cars got this premium interior treatment. Probably most DLC cars did, I guess. Oh yeah, so the opposing cars are more like remember I took this little thing. So the opposing cars did follow the same general car type, so that's cool. And I'm actually using the D-pad to steer just because I find that more comfortable. It's not probably the best input, but it's comfortable. And, you know, it's all about comfort, right? So actually the caching here isn't that bad. Now, if this had been like the very first time I had run this track in, I mean, the compiling shaders isn't so bad. If this had been the very first time I had run this track in RPCS3, this install of RPCS3, it would, like, basically these are little 2-lap races I'm running here. And the whole first race, it would have been jerking and stuttering while it was compiling the shaders, but then if you do another race after that, it would have been pretty smooth, at least on my system, which is, my PC is like a, it's probably a 4 or 5 year old gaming laptop. It was like a mid-range. Actually, when I got it like 5 years ago, it was already like a year-old mid-range gaming laptop that I got off Amazon for a pretty good price. I think I spent a little over $1,000 on it. So it's not like, you know, it's not a super top-of-the-line system, especially here 5 years after I bought it. But it runs RPCS3 pretty well, at least for games that seem to be fairly operational in RPCS3, unlike, for instance, Gran Turismo 6. Like, GT6 just still has all this weird stuff. Like, when you claim a car in GT6, the little scene of the car sort of driving out of the darkness straight into the camera's view in front of you on screen, that just slows down to, like, maybe even below one frame per second or something in GT6. Although, wait, there's a setting it recommends you change it, make it a little faster, but it's still super. It's just, there's just all kinds of problems in 6, which is interesting. I was looking at other PS3 racing games to see if there were any others I wanted to try out. Oh, I came in second. That was on easy difficulty. And what was the series? It was Codemasters. Was it Grid? Yeah, there's Codemasters did Grid, Grid 2, and Grid Autosport or something, I think they were called. Actually, and the second and third games there on PS3 felt really, or they looked really uninspired. So Grid Autosport, the first one, would have been the one I would go with, but that game is like 30 frames per second tops, like it's like 20 to 30 frames per second, and it's got more detail in the tracks, but like, I mean, this game ran at 1080p. I don't remember what resolution Grid was, probably 720. So this game was 1080p 60, and yeah, there isn't a whole lot of track detail, and you really notice that. Well, you notice that in the tracks I don't like. So can I change the difficulty here? No. Okay, let's exit then. Just like the regular, like, actual racing tracks, which are always set in like these big sprawling grassy areas, you know, with walls of tires around the corners and stuff, and it's just really boring. I hate those settings for tracks. But these little city tracks have a ton of detail around them. I just love how these are done. But anyway, yeah, these tracks, they look great. They run at 60 frames a second. I mean, other racing games couldn't even do like 30 frames. It's crazy. So they were really like, digital polyphony was really close to, kind of coding the games at the metal. Like, I don't know if they were using binary or machine language, but maybe assembly or something. Well, probably not. But anyway, they got great performance out of the things, even though it took them a long time to make the games. And I guess Gran Turismo 6, they must have squeezed even more out because it really struggles in RPCS3. So they had all kinds of tricks that RPCS3 still can't handle, I suppose. Let's check out Madrid. Circuito de Madrid Mini. Okay, let's do the full. Let's take a sportier one. McLaren. Volcano Orange. Okay, whatever. Oh, sports hard. Don't give me no sports hard. Give me racing sauce, baby. So these might make it too easy. Like, I don't know, but I just kind of love the handling you get with racing sauce. At least I did in Gran Turismo 7. I think I probably did in 5. I don't remember this one from before. Oh, yeah, no, I did. Get rid. Oh, yeah, I don't want damage. That's boring. So wait, did I set this on hard? I think I did. Dang it, I don't remember. I'm not paying attention. I'm just babbling so much. Okay, professional level. So we definitely set it on hard. Or as hard as arcade mode gets anyway. Where's that McLaren? Volcano Orange. So we'll probably get more shader compiling going on here, and the first race might be pretty jerky because I haven't run this track before in this install of RPCS3. So it doesn't have any caches for this track. Oh wow, that was like some crazy Matrix stuff. Oh no. Oh my gosh. So you gotta, this is just gonna happen. This is just how RPCS3 works, I guess. Well, I do have shaders cranked up to max, so that doesn't help. Oh no, when's my car gonna compile? Compiling. That was kind of cool though. The car, it's like we're in Tron or something. The car sort of rez in. Oh no! Yeah, it's real hard to steer. That's my excuse when you're compiling shaders, because it's really jerky. It's not at all that I'm a bad driver. Oh! Not at all that I no longer actually have a car in real life, so I don't know how to drive anymore. I sold my car when I moved. And now I just walk everywhere in this tiny town. It's great. So that was another thing. Like, I kind of thought I was done with racing. Like, I don't like cars because my whole experience with real life cars these days is walking. Oh man, I totally forgot the layout of this track. I remember this little trap now that I've hit the wall. Is walking around this little rural city I live in now and just, guys in big trucks with huge mufflers just driving past me. And like the sidewalks here mostly don't have like a grassy strip or any kind of thing separating the sidewalk from the actual road. So you're walking right against the roadside, and then somebody in a huge truck, because all the guys in this area have to drive a huge truck. A huge pickup truck with a huge muffler will just be spraying their toxic exhaust fumes on you as they drive right past you. And it's gross. So I started kind of getting a really negative feeling towards cars and wheeled vehicles in general. So I was thinking maybe I don't want to play a game that's all about these types of vehicles, even if they're sportier in the game. But, and maybe that's part of the feeling I got. I started getting that feeling with Gran Turismo 7. So I'm still playing that a little bit, even though I cleared career mode by then, I think, when I moved out here. Dang, I'm racing bad. I can't blame that one on compiling shaders. I'm not really paying attention. That's my excuse. And I think, I don't know, I'm wondering now if maybe it's just like Gran Turismo 7 was the point where racing games started to get a little too real for me. Like maybe I sort of prefer this lower fidelity, slightly lower fidelity world of Gran Turismo 5, where you can see it's a game. Like there's all this aliasing going on. There's more obvious polygons that are making things instead of, you know, them being real. Maybe that's sort of comforting in a way, like just a little bit of video game jank, because I want to play video games. I don't want to be in like some kind of weird real luxury car real world thing. I don't want to be some rich jerk screwing over the environment by driving some kind of horrible I don't think I'm really down with the handling of this McLaren. But the turns in this track are killer. You know, so anyway, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't play games that are about these types of vehicles and stuff, but I don't know, I feel more comfortable doing it in a much more obviously gamey game that's, you know, not as realistic looking, I guess. Like this game, I mean, as opposed to Gran Turismo 7. Also, I just like this game there's less of 7's just luxury car world worshipping nonsense. I think 7 had an arcade mode. I don't think I played it a whole lot. So that was terrible on my part. I'll excuse myself by saying I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, well, that car is probably a little too high-powered for this course, but maybe I should go back to my tiny little two-door, oh, I guess that was a two-door, but you know, the tinier car thing for that course. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if maybe I should try the version of Madrid that doesn't have the loop. Oh, but it was actually Rome that I played more. Let's try. Can we go back to beginner so I feel better about myself in the race itself? Let's do Rome. Do they have a Lambo in here? Although Lambos are hard to... like, Lamborghinis take a little practice to get used to themselves. Let's do something a little less fancy, maybe. Well, there is a Lambo. Oh, no. Or a Ferrari, rather. Yeah, that's it. That's what I was playing at the time. It was weird because, like, one of the first, you know, sporty cars I got when I was playing career mode was a Ferrari in the game. And so I don't know if it was just because of that, but I got this big, like, Ferraris are better than Lamborghinis attitude. I think just because I happened to get a Ferrari instead of a Lamborghini when I was playing GT5. But, you know, I don't know. That's just how it went. I spent a long time trying to tune whichever Ferrari that was, because they are tricky. They have really skittish handling in the game anyway. So I'm probably going to be wrecking all over the place. Oh man, generate your car. Come on, RPCS3. Get my car there. I'm holding nothing. I'm not holding this. Okay, there's my steering wheels here. That's pretty funny. I just passed a bunch of cars. Compiling isn't too bad. It's not great, but I can kind of see what's going on. But yeah, like why, I don't, oh, right, hairpin there. Like why wouldn't they have put these little city tracks in 7? I don't get it. I'm pretty sure they were in 6. 6, that was the other thing about 6 that I felt at the time, I think, was that 6 basically felt pretty much like 5 with a few additional things. And like my main specific memory that I thought I had for 6 was that the nighttime effect was better because you could use the map editor to make a nighttime track, and I think I had done that in 5, and then I did it in 6, and like the way that the headlight beams looked was way better in 6, and like the starry night sky looked way nicer in 6. I think that's the lingering memory I have that I thought was from 6 versus 5. But I also just felt like 6 still felt like a slightly upgraded 5, and I felt like it didn't run quite as smoothly. I don't know if that was just load time. I don't remember what my exact detail that I thought was worse as far as the game's performance was. I mean, I'm sure the frame rate was still 60 when you were actually in a race, so maybe it was just load times were, ooh, there was some compiling. I don't remember exactly what it was. And I still can't remember for sure if I actually owned 6. I still wasn't taking notes at that time, so I don't have any notes that would actually back any of this up for my spotty memory. This is so aliased, it's amazing. I'm sure, I don't think it was this aliased on an actual PS3. I think I just left the aliasing on the default setting. Oh, I did, in RPCS3. Okay, this isn't, it's a little, like the rear can swing out on this thing. And these are just the, you know, you don't actually do tuning of the cars in arcade mode, which is kind of a blessing. Because, like, I can just get super obsessed with trying to maximize stuff I don't understand. And I'd have no idea how, you know, what actual car tuning is. That's for sure. That was one nice thing about 7, because in 7, you just hit a button that's like optimized tuning or something, and it just says, okay, and it, you know, you see numbers change, and you're like, okay, I guess that's good. That was kind of a lifesaver in 7. I don't think 5 has anything like that in career mode. I think he just left it to you to tune the cars. It just gave you like factory settings, more or less. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, I like that track. And the Lamborghini was actually pretty fun. I think it was a slightly older model. Or was it, God, I keep saying Lamborghini, the Ferrari. I think it was, oh, I did go back to beginner, of course. I think the first Ferrari I got in 5 back in the day was a slightly older model. That would have been tougher to handle. Do I want to do any other city tracks right now? Or, I mean, there's Madrid. I could do the version without that little roundabout. There's Tokyo. Oh, so there's, oh yeah. Tokyo R246. Then there's these 2 night tracks. And the Côte d'Azur, which I don't remember. I think I liked this track, though. Let's try this. Dale Earnhardt Impala. Skyline, they love their Skylines. Let's do it. Millennium Jade, sure. Not that I'm a millennial or something, I'm older than that. Can I use this color? Is that allowed then? I guess I'm Gen X technically. I don't know. Compiling shaders. I got a steering wheel already. I know, like, I have hands, I have a steering wheel. I'm hitting the wrong button though, so that's a bad start. Somebody just rear ends me. Move it. Yeah, but I just kind of liked 5 at the time as far as maybe this is rose-tinted glasses, but like just the handling felt pretty good. That's the thing, like every other sort of, wannabe sim racing game I've tried on console or PC, well, certainly on PC. Oh no, wait, no, I'm getting good. Yeah. Well, there's one series that I'm thinking of as kind of an exception to this, but almost all of them have felt, just the handling is just felt so much less well-tuned than the Gran Turismo's 5 and 7. It's just like these games, these Gran Turismo 5 and 7, just it just works. Like the controls just feel like they do what I want the car to do, more or less. Of course, there's handling, and it varies from car to car and everything. It's not like every car feels the same at all, but I don't know, somehow the control feels intuitive to me in these games, whereas in other sim-y racing games that I play, I just feel like the control is all over the place. I mean, there's like a set of Corso games. I think I played a demo or 2 of those on probably on console. A couple other series, I think. The main exception I was struggling with there was what's it called? Microsoft series. Forza Horizon. I think I bought the one off Steam, the one set in the UK or Scotland or whatever. Is that 5 or something? I think that's probably 5. Forza Horizon 5, maybe it was 4. I think it was 5. I don't know. And that's got a really gross presentation with these like quasi, social media influencers like that you have to interact with to get your stuff as you play the game. That's horribly obnoxious. And then, Horizon's all about an open world. Like, I probably would have liked Forza, the regular Forza game more, I suppose. Because I think what I've realized, and then I went through more recently, like a year or so ago, I went through a phase of trying to get back into driving games. And I tried out a bunch of driving games, mostly like a lot of Sega driving games. But a lot of Sega driving games are rally races. And I think I don't find myself drawn as much. I don't find rally racing nearly as compelling as just racing around a track. But it has to be a fun track, and I seem to like these little urban tracks with a lot of, where they've sort of built a track around city blocks, and so you have a lot of short sections and 90-degree turns and stuff. Yeah, I really like these overhead freeways going over you here, and it's just like, it's such a varied environment in a way. I mean, there's always, different surfaces and angles and things coming up, and it's just so much more interesting to me than all the regular racing tracks where you're just driving around some grassy oval or something, or even grassy figure eights or whatever. Position 3, hey. And yeah, it was such a, well, I don't know if I thought maybe it wouldn't bother me at the time, but in retrospect, it was such a bummer that Gran Turismo 7 didn't have these little urban tracks in it. And the one it did have was so bland, or the one or two it had were so bland. And I just couldn't, I thought I was going to keep playing that game, and after I cleared career mode, I thought I'd just keep driving and having fun racing, or even just setting track times, but I couldn't do it. I just dropped out eventually. For a while I was racing every day, because if you drove a certain distance, you got, in-game cred or whatever it was. That's how they kept you going, but it was such a bland, boring. I was just racing a supercar around a three-sided, stadium track, basically, in the end, and it was so lame. Let's do that setting where you crank up the AI's aggressiveness. Oh, wow. Well, that was a crash. Maybe I shouldn't have left this window open, but I doubt that was the thing. Yeah, it just went boom. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I wanna mess with that slider in the main options in the game, where you could increase I think it called the aggressiveness of the arcade mode drivers, see what difference that makes. But yeah, that was a straight up crash. Dang. I mean, RPC3 is still in heavy development. Like, while I was doing all kinds of stuff with RPCS3 over the weekend, trying to get this game working, because my first rip that I tried of the game, it must have just been a bad rip. So the RPCS3 has a certain method of ripping games that it advises, and that's using a homebrew on your jailbroken PS3 called mana guns, and using a copying method in that, where it's just in the file manager in mana guns. You just select all of the folders on the Blu-ray on the Blu-ray that's inserted in your PS3. You just select all the folders on the disc and just copy them onto your USB thumbstick that you have inserted in the PS3, and that's worked more or less. So there have been a couple Blu-ray games that I've had to do that a couple times to get a working rip, but for the most part it's worked. But with Gran Turismo 5 is, I think, it's a bigger than average game. So like I said, it's like 20 or 22 gigs. And it's got one file in it in particular that's 10 gigabytes, a single file, and that file seemed to be a bad copy. Like the byte size was correct on it. I'm not sure about the MD5. I didn't try going that deep into it, but it just wouldn't. The game just wouldn't run. It wouldn't even launch from RPCS3. RPCS3 is reported as corrupt. And so I spent about a day trying to see if I could resolve that, and eventually I had to do another rip with a different ripping method. I did try ripping that 10 gigabyte file with the same mana guns file manager method, and it failed again. So let's see how I was going to do. Arcade, and then let's crank AI card characteristics up to 10. I was doing that on beginner, wasn't I? Let's do same track. That was 246. And I was driving the... what the heck was it? Actually, yeah, I've forgotten. Oh, it was a Skyline, wasn't it? That was probably back towards the other end. I think it was this one. Millennium Jade. So now we're on AI aggressiveness 10 or whatever. Does that mean they're going to be ramming me? That was like a Super Mario Brothers coin sound almost. There should be a little less shader compiling since I did run the track before, but there's always going to be some at the start. Oh wow, they just floored it. I don't think they did that quite before. Is that another Skyline right there? Uh-oh. I should be paying attention. But like in other games, also the interior views tend to feel strange to me. What was the... Oh, well, the... those grid games, like, they didn't have much in the way of interior views, I don't think. Oh, I didn't hit him. Look at me, pro driver. What is this music? Oh, man. I guess I won't, like, normally, if I did get a copyright claim, I would mute mute the section of the video, or maybe just cut it entirely that had the claimed music track, but I suppose I wouldn't want to do that for this video since I am babbling so much about my setup and stuff here. Just have to take the demonetization or the revenue sharing at best. Oh, crushing it against these aggressive guys. I'm not noticing. I mean, I guess that bumping that happened there, I'm pretty sure that was mostly me. Like, I did have a guy rear end me. Oh, that guy floored it. Maybe that's the aggressiveness. I did have a guy rear end me when I hit brake instead of accelerate, but that was on the aggressiveness default setting, but in the previous play. God, I love how alias this is. It's almost like playing it takes me back to playing these PS1 racing games that I didn't play as a kid, that I played in more recent years. Like, what's the Namco one? Ridge Racer 4 or whatever it was. No, 4 was probably PS2. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Ooh. I like this crazy techno track. Oh, now you got just a generic sort of techno stuff they threw in there. Rippin'. Oop, oop, don't get cocky. Oh man, all these like crazy aliasing patterns. Moire effects or whatever. Or is it moire? I don't know. Anyway, it's good stuff. You don't get this kind of janky video grit in modern racing games. You gotta go back to PS3 era. So it's like, should graphics have stopped evolving with the PS3 era? Is this all the graphics we needed? I mean, probably not, let's face it, but there's something that's kind of nice having graphics that still look, you know, immediately recognizably artificial. Even if they look cool, they're still obviously not real. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And really, like, I came in third, so the aggressiveness didn't make it harder. So I could be up against a... Oh, I don't think I even changed my tires to racing softs, did I? I don't think they would still have been on racing softs. I mean, arcade mode may just end up being too easy if I play a bit. So that was probably on... Yeah, that was on sports softs. So I can't say it was racing soft tires that made it easier. See, it saves my other settings, but it doesn't save the tires. It seems to change those. I think they might be set to the car or to the track, determined by the car or the track, and then if you wanted something different, you have to come in and change it. Maybe even change by the time of day if it was a wet track or something, but I mean, of course, the other things I could do to make it more challenging would be to get back to racing manual transmission. That would be fun at some point. So anyway, I may find myself playing through career mode at some point. I don't know. I don't know if time trial would save. Because that was another thing I thought I could do, like in 7, is just have fun, just trying to set, you know, just going for faster times on each track with each car I liked. Actually, I kind of want to see, those kart tracks, but will it let me take a non-kart? Oh, no, it won't. I forget that. I don't really want to see these regular type tracks right now. I mean, a lot of these just I find really boring. Nürburgring has some fun sections, but I don't think I've raced a whole lot of the dirt and snow stuff. Just whatever it made me race in career mode back in the day. Anyway, let's see if it saves your stage times. Go with this thing. I don't think it doesn't seem to save any clear times. I wonder if it would in career, like, practice mode, though. Because that had a time trial mode, didn't it? This has ghost replays, so it might save it. I guess so I don't mess with the tires and I just don't have to worry about changing that all the time, but I don't know. What's this? Clear results. Yeah, so I guess it sounds like this does save your times even in arcade mode. We'll see. That would be nice. Oh, rolling start going on here. This is kind of a cool cockpit. This is a really responsive car. Yeah, I just like this track. It's such a fun little track. Go London. don't think I've ever been to actual London. No, I guess I haven't, have I? Or wait. I was in high school, my family took a trip to the UK, and my brother and I got there like a week ahead of our parents because my dad was doing something else like in Spain, and they were going to meet us up there. And so we went to Scotland and ended up kind of trooping around Scotland on our own, which was fun, but we might have flown into Heathrow. We probably did. But that would be the most of London I've ever seen, I suppose, if we did go in. Oh, there's my ghost. Phasing in. See, for a while, too, I thought the way I wanted to play racing games was just doing, like, ghost lap racing like this. And I thought that because I had these memories of playing, what's that Dreamcast game made by the guys who, or the company at least, that went on to do not Forza, the other series. It was racing series that was pretty well known on Xbox. Oh, I can't remember the Xbox series or the Dreamcast game name off the top of my head. Because it had all these tiny little urban tracks, and I just found myself one day just racing around and around this little urban track in whatever that Dreamcast game is called. It's a pretty well known one, and I was just spacing on the name. So I thought maybe that's how I wanted to play racing games, but I didn't find that. I couldn't find a way to make that work in 7. Well, I guess, but maybe that's just because 7 didn't have that kind of track, really. Oh man, the handling. I'm getting whooped by my ghost. But yeah, I mean, maybe that would work for me on these GT5 city tracks. Where you're really just setting your own difficulty based on how well you've done before, you know. The other thing I was wondering, the other type of racing game I thought maybe I would want to be playing, this was back when I guess I was trying to get back into racing games a year or so ago, was like open world racing or something. That was why I tried out Forza Horizon, I suppose. But I didn't find an open world racing game that appealed to me, I guess. I think Forza Horizon was the only one I actually bought and tried to play. Like there's that Beam NG game, I guess, which sounds like you just kind of drive around huge maps and whatever. Kind of wonder about that sometime, but that game's like, I think it's just permanently in early access and it's still kind of expensive, so I'm not real tempted to buy that. It also doesn't, see, I think I kind of just like racetracks, like little tiny city tracks, I think is really my jam, so not too tempted to put down $30 to try out an early access open world soft body, whatever the heck BeamNG is game. Then I know there's people on like the selectbutton.net forum who really like the like Snow Runners, I think is one of the more recent games in whatever series that is. It's a more modern series where it sounds like you're kind of like doing missions in like sort of career, like driving careers, like heavy trucking in the snow for carrying cargo or something in Nordic countries. I don't know what the plot of the game is, but some kind of contrived thing, reason to be driving in massive dumps of snow or mud in big trucks. But I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's really what I want. I just want a fun, fast, responsive game where I have to, you know, I have to do controls and do stuff and make fun stuff happen. I think that's why I like fighting games, for instance. Oh, darn you, Ghost. Hey, the music stopped. Is it gonna start another track? Maybe not till I finish a lap. I think I beat my Ghost anyway. What's the rear view in this thing? Oops. Oh, this isn't gonna work. I don't remember what the button for the rear view is. Shoot. Did I just kill my Ghost? Oh no, there it is. Darn it! Of course, my Ghost just updated because I just set a faster time, so that's the increasing challenge of this mode. Oh, here we got music coming in. Oops. Oh no, my Ghost is gonna burn past me. Oh, it didn't. How bad was my last lap? My last time. Yeah, see, I guess I can do this, like, just kind of having fun. Trying to beat my Ghost in a little town course like this. But I don't think, like, I tried taking a look at whatever Dreamcast game that is in the past year or so, and it doesn't feel like it aged real well. Like the handling, the car handling is just not modern feeling. So that didn't quite, you know, maybe I'd been spoiled by Gran Turismo by that point, but it just didn't feel so good in terms of the actual handling of the cars. Oh yeah, we're working it. Oh, I was behind? I thought I had a better time there. I was ahead of my Ghost, wasn't I? I didn't see no Ghost. Okay, one more lap. I was sure I was ahead there. So I'm ahead now. Might have just blown it there. But, like, if I was behind, I should have been seeing my Ghost in front of me, right? I can never quite get straight there without a little skid. I mean, this is where, in, like, 5 career mode, you would want to be coming in and... or I would find myself self-obsessively trying to tweak the car so that the rear end wouldn't slide out on me so much and so forth. Just trying, you know, you're basically tuning it to your own racing style. There, I set a new time, barely. Okay, so let's see if that time, so that's 59319. I do wonder if that'll auto-save, but I kind of... let's not hit the save button. Well, let's go back in right from here and see if it's still there, for one thing. Same car. So that's there, and probably be there for any car. I guess that's that. I think maybe I had that problem with 7 as well. Is that it just lumps all the cars in together? Did maybe 7 break it down by like car class. Maybe that was a little better. I don't remember. So it saved that much, but will it save if I actually quit the game entirely? And then if it doesn't, then I'll have to try clicking the manual save button here. So that'll be another exciting test. For now, let's not click that and just exit the emulator. Then launch it again. I have to watch these bars go. Uh-oh. What's it doing? Is it running? Is it crashing? It's running. Okay. Oh, look at all these pipeline objects. So it does load some things that are pre-cached. That's good, I guess. I mean, PS3 must have been some crazy complicated thing, because look at all this stuff these poor emulators have to do to try to get it to work, and they still got all kinds of weird stuff going on in the game itself. But yeah, like as I was messing with RPCS3, trying to get stuff working trying to get this, what turned out to be a bad rip of the game working over the weekend, I kept constantly, RPCS3 kept saying there's a new version available. I was like, what the heck? They were kicking out a new build of the game like every couple hours. It was wacky. So, in theory, still improving stuff in the simulator. So will it have that time? And then I guess if it doesn't, then I could try it in the, GT mode. You got some funk going on here. Well, I was doing that with this car, wasn't I? Shouldn't matter. You do get a lot of audio crackle as it's like loading stuff. Hey, it's there, sweet. So that's cool. So it doesn't save the times that you get in the versus CPU race mode in arcade, but it does save your time trial time. So that's another thing I could just spend time doing, just ghost lapping. Ghost lapping's fun. Yeah, it doesn't save these times. I don't think I want to get into drift stuff. What was that Dreamcast game? Because that was kind of a drift game where you got kudos. Look at my notes. Search. System. Dreamcast genre driving. These are my notes. This is where I did not have notes for Gran Turismo 5 or 6. Metropolis Street Racer, that was it. My notes from 2005. The game is still a stunner, I said in 2005, of Metropolis Street Racer. Okay. It's probably time for me to get to bed. Oh, it sure is. Hey, the time there is accurate. How did it get that? I don't know. Anyway, I guess RPCS3 gets that from your PC system. So yeah, so this game works pretty good. Oh, so the thing with my the reason why I was running RPCS3 and spent all weekend trying to get stuff working is because, like I said, to my surprise anyway, but then somebody was saying they do this every year. Sony came out with a new, around this time of year, Sony came out with a new, I don't know if that's correct, Sony came out with a new firmware for PS3, 4.92, whereas it had been on 4.91, and all of the firmware, all of the custom firmware and homebrews and stuff were set up for no later than 4.91, of course. In fact, I was finding these ripping schemes in mana guns that didn't even support 4.91. I think you had to go back to 4.89 for some of those, like to do a decrypted ISO, to make a decrypted ISO from a Blu-ray disc using mana guns. I think it actually, you needed to be on firmware 4.89 or earlier or something. So anyway, I was trying my usual ripping method of just copying the files in Managun's file manager like the RPCS3 Wiki recommended. And I couldn't get a clean rip of that 10 gigabyte file. I think that was the tripping point anyway. So I had to try some other ripping methods, and I ended up just going with, well, the first, I tried a couple, but then I tested them, and the first one I tested worked, so I didn't bother testing the others, and that was creating a decrypted ISO of the Blu-ray using a homebrew that I'd actually installed as part of the jailbreaking process called Multiman. So just using Multiman's function for creating a decrypted ISO Blu-ray, a PS3 Blu-ray, and that worked. That's how I finally got the rip I'm playing here. So that was a relief. I was starting to think maybe, it was just some weird problem with the disc, even though the disc looked pretty clean and it didn't give any like read errors in any of the ripping programs. But anyway, now it was just, I couldn't get a clean rip with mana guns for whatever reason. Now mana guns, I does have one ISO method that worked, which would have been ripping an encrypted ISO, ripping the game to an encrypted ISO, and then you have to run some other utilities to decrypt it, which would have been fine because the decryption keys are all known by now and stuff. But I've never actually tried that personally. But I didn't have to do that because the Multiman decrypted ISO worked, so hurrah! Of course, you can just download somebody else's decrypted ISO of the game off some kind of ware site or whatever, but it's more fun to make your own, right? Anyway, I guess I gotta go to bed. So that's about all I got to show right now. This weird artifacts in the back. Well, let's do a quick final thing. Let's see if I can get that to go away if I check a bunch of boxes. Let's do we just try a bunch of these. Just do all of this. Okay, not the stretch. It's RSX. That's a performance. Text or streaming, I don't know. Don't think any of this other stuff sounds likely to help Z-call accuracy. Experiment to find the best option for your game. Well, I have it on precise, so that should be the best anyway. I don't think any of those sound likely to affect something like this. I think let's check all these boxes, I guess. Yeah, okay, let's just do that. Probably gonna break it totally. Alright, let's quit and relaunch this baby with all those rendering and advanced boxes checked. Come on, baby. I keep trying to relaunch it too fast. Apparently. No. Okay. So do I need to click again, or is it going to launch after that click I did? Maybe that one didn't count. Alright. Let's go. I made myself a little 24 pixel. I can't get there. It is. Little icon for the game. Hooray. I mean, you can get RPCS3 to make a shortcut icon for you, but it spits it out at a higher resolution, and it's just all tiny and blurry when you stick it down in your taskbar. So I made a little 24 pixel thing, which looks a bit sharper. Oh, but yeah, so I'd ripped the game using the Managun's file copy, and I was so confident that that was going to work. I was like, well, I got my rip of the game. This is probably the last game I'm going to want to rip for a while anyway. So, yeah, what the heck? I'll just try updating to the 4.92 Sony firmware from my 4.91 custom firmware. Like, even if it doesn't work, who cares, right? I was in some kind of dumb and goofy mood. And so yeah, don't do that. Because what happened was my game, the update failed from the 4.91 custom firmware to Sony's 4.92. The update just bonked out, as I should have expected it would. And then the PS3 was stuck in an update loop. Okay, so all those boxes did nothing for this background artifact. The game was then stuck in an update loop where every time I turned it on, it tried to update to 4.92 and failed. And it just kept doing that. So, let's see if we can get this stuff taken care of here. Oh, it turned this one back off. Maybe I missed that one, I don't know. Hey, come on. Okay. Back to where I probably should have. So my PS3 was, because I stupidly tried to update to the regular new firmware from custom firmware, it was stuck in an update loop, and I couldn't figure out how to get it out of that. I tried booting it into safe mode. You can like hold down the power button as you turn it on in a certain way or whatever, but it wouldn't go into safe mode. After reading various things people had tried, I eventually figured out that I could remove the PS3's hard disk, and then turn it on, and then this particular post that I was trying to follow, this guy had made, I think on Reddit, jam the hard drive in after counting 5 seconds after turning the power on. And then if you got the timing exactly right, instead of then either just not going anywhere or going into the update loop, it would go to a screen that would let you install. That would say if you press select and start buttons together, it'll read a firmware file off of a USB drive, or a media drive it might call it, I don't remember, and it'll just update from that. So I had the 4.91 firmware on, but this would like do it. I think at that point that was a full, like, from scratch reinstall. So of course all your data would be wiped, which I didn't care about because I'm not actually playing on my actual PS3 anymore. So it was like, that's fine. So I actually got that to work on like the first try. I pulled the hard drive, the PS3 hard drive out. You know, you have to unscrew a screw. It's actually really easy to get the hard disk drive out of a PS3. It's a lot less work. I mean, it's still easy to do out of a PS4, which I'll get to for a reason in a minute. But it's just like one, you just pull off one tiny little access panel to get to the screw on the bottom of the PS3, at least on the slim model PS3. You unscrew the screw, you just need a tiny little PC size screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver for that. And then you can pull out the 2.5 inch hard disk drive. So I pulled out the disk drive, turned on the power, counted to 5, jammed the disk drive back in with the power on, and that screen saying, press start or select to reinstall off of a inserted media drive or whatever. That came up, but for some reason I didn't. Oh, yeah, so then I did do that, and I had the 4.91 firmware in there because I was just going to put 4.91 back on and then jailbreak 4.91 again to get back to, the setup I had working. But from a completely fresh install because everything would be wiped. But that got to like 89%, it said on screen, and then the count slowed way down. It eventually crawled up to 98% and then just was on 98% for hours and hours. And I finally realized that I don't know what made me check this, but I finally realized that the hard drive was not actually plugged in anymore. Like, I don't know if I'd even plugged it in when I tried jamming it back in, or if, I guess I must have, because otherwise that screen wouldn't have come up. But at some point it had wiggled loose again, I guess. So maybe I just hadn't plugged it in solidly. I don't know. But anyway, it was loose. And so, of course, it couldn't finish the update, but it didn't show that in a great way. It just eventually slowed down and then stopped with the update counter at 98% and just stayed there. So that didn't work, and so I tried it again, but I couldn't get the timing right, or maybe the drive had gotten actually screwed up that time when I jammed it in like that. But anyway, I couldn't get it to come up with that press start and select to install off media drive option again. So I thought I was hosed. I thought I was going to have to at least get like a cable that would let me plug a SATA or SATA cable that would let me plug the PS3's 2.5 inch drive into my PC via USB port, and then use, drive maintenance tools from the PC to like format the drive or, look for corrupted sectors or something. So I actually did place an order for a cable like that off Amazon. But then it occurred to me, wait a second, the PS4 Pro might have a compatible drive, right? So I looked it up, and yeah, sure enough, PS4 has a 2.5 inch hard disk drive, and they're compatible. In fact, you can put the PS3 one in the PS4 if you really needed to, but you can also put the PS4 one in the PS3. So I thought at first I was going to take the one out of my hard drive out of the PS4, because I don't really use the PS4 actively currently either, except for like checking the latest arcade archives release, or to see if, in case they release one I'm interested in, which isn't often. But so I was going to take the hard drive out of the PS4, put it in the PS3, format it as a PS3 hard drive, and jailbreak it and keep that in the PS3 long enough to get a good rip of Gran Turismo 5 at any rate. So then it occurred to me, wait a second, maybe the PS3 drive, I can just put the PS3 drive in the PS4, format that as a PS4 drive, and then that will, you know, format the disk, so then when I put it back in the PS3, it won't be able to try doing, it won't even know that it's stuck in it was stuck in a PS3 update loop, because it'll be a completely alien system. It'll be the PS4 system on there, so it'll just say, oh, this drive needs to be formatted or something, right? So I did that. So I took the PS3 2.5-inch hard disk drive out of the PS3, took the PS4's hard disk drive out of the PS4, put the PS3 hard disk drive into the PS4, with the, and the PS4 is a little different. You can get system updates on, you know, download those from Sony's site for the PS4 and put those on a USB stick, but to update the PS4 off a USB stick, but you actually need a slightly different file if you're going to do a system install off of the USB stick, and that's it's not quite twice as big. It's like maybe 70, I don't know. Anyway, it's bigger than just a regular system update file. But so I got the system reinstall file off of Sony's site for the PS4. Put that on a USB. That's like 700 megabytes or so, that file, I think 750 something. So I did a install of the latest PS4 operating system version onto my PS3 hard drive in the PS4. That, of course, you know, completely formatted the drive, so it was no longer a PS3, you know, operating system on there. So then I took that back out of the PS4 once that was done, and it actually, you know, booted up on the PS4 as a PS4 hard drive. So, you know, shut the PS4 off, took that PS3 drive out of the PS4, put it back into the PS3, and then the PS3 says, oh, this drive needs to be formatted. So then you could just do the press start and select and do a, you know, full from scratch install of whatever firmware you have on your USB. And I had the 4.99.1, so that let me reinstall the 4.91 firmware onto the PS3 hard disk in the PS3, and then, you know, so then I was back up and running a completely clean 4.91 install on the PS3, and then I just jailbroke that again, and then I was able to, you know, as I said, you try different ripping methods for Gran Turismo 5 HD edition, XL edition Blu-ray, and found the one that worked, and everything's dandy, and now I've got it running in RPCS3. So hurrah! That was my little weekend saga of stupidity. But I got GT5 running, and that's all that matters, right? Even with this wacky menu artifact. But hey, that's all cool. As far as I'm concerned, I like some jank, right? So thanks for watching. Yeah, so anyway, I like these little city tracks in GT5. I've been missing them all this time. And I kept, I don't know, telling myself, no, you don't want to rebuy GT5. It's silly. But I guess I did. I guess that's what I was missing all this time, maybe. Anyway, I like them. So thanks for watching. See you later. Just out here. All right. Bye-bye.